Alright guys, welcome to another head-to-head. I've not done one of these for a wee little while. And I'm quite excited for this one because it combines two breweries who I've got a big fondness for. And by the way, to preface this, doesn't matter which beer wins out of this. It doesn't really matter because both breweries I'm a massive fan of. And I'm sure Rob from Hop Scene has done this with a couple of other beers as well as these. I can't really remember. Should have looked it up before I started. But yeah, I was making a point now before I did that preface. Anyway, yeah, so these beers contain one of my favourite ingredients when it comes to beer, and that's coffee. And I'm going to just put the camera down just to hide my double chin a little bit more. And I feel very self-conscious recently, YouTube. Mainly because I'm putting on shit tons of weight. And I really need to stop that. I'm not going to be one of these dickheads who goes, oh, it's approaching January, so like January 1st, new year, new me. Probably won't be. But I want to be a bit more mindful. But I'm basically got loads of time off on the run up to Christmas and New Year. So, fuck it. The hedonist lifestyle stops for no one. What the hell am I talking about? So today, we're having a look at two beers that have got coffee in them. And yeah, I just love, it doesn't matter what style it is. If the coffee's good, it can just add so much character, so much flavour to whether it's a lager, an IPA, or in this case, a porter. So, we're having a look at two coffee porters. The first one, and the beer that going into this, I'm just going to say, is one of my all-time favourite beers. That, of course, is the Coffee Porter Common Grounds from Magic Rock, which is their coffee porter with chocolate and vanilla, clocking in at 5.4% ABV and brewed in collaboration with Dark Woods Coffee. Fantastic Drew Millwood artwork there. And then the next one is the Northern Star Mocha Porter, clocking in at 5.2% from Northern Monk. And this is brewed in collaboration with North Star Coffee Roasters. And this also contains vanilla, if I remember correctly. Where are those ingredients? Yeah, vanilla, lactose and coffee. And does this also contain lactose? Doesn't say, but contains barley and rye. So there we are. So I'm sure there's going to be some differences between the two, but two essentially core range beers from two northern breweries up north in up Leeds way, of course. Northern Common Ground, fucking Magic Rock out of Huddersfield. So yeah, I'm sure I've reviewed this before on the channel, and I'm sure I've had it before, but I can't remember. But I was in my local booths and picked up a few beers. They've obviously got the vintage ales from Fuller's there. Could not be bothered messing around with Christmas beers this year, just because 9 times out of 10 they're just so underwhelming. Just so underwhelming. But yeah, so two very similar ABVs. From two similar breweries. Of course, Magic Rock has a bit more money behind them now. But yeah, so I'm going to be using two quite similar glasses. In fact, I think they may be the same. I'm not too sure. Is that from Rastal? I don't know. They're both dirty though. Jesus Christ, I need to clean all my glasses, give them a proper clean. So yeah, very excited for this one because this is one of my all-time favourite beers. Just putting out there before we start this video, I'm going to try and avoid using that in my decision. In fact, I will. I'll be very objective with this. So let's get them out and see what we get. But yeah, picked them up from booths in their sort of buy 5 for 6 deal. Picked up a few cans of this, a couple to save for drinking over Christmas. Picked up a Millionaire from Wild Beer Company. Picked this up, and then I can't remember what else I picked up actually. Oh, picked up a Salt Beer Factory hazy IPA, which was absolutely bang on. It really was. What's it called? Here it is. The Hookerback New England IPA. Definitely one I'll be buying plenty of next time I see it. So let's get them both out and see what we get. Might even do a bit of a cuvee at the end. Who knows? So they are pretty much identical. Pours aren't though. Yeah, both have a really dark mahogany sort of look to it. I'm not going to say jet black, but you do see a bit of light bleeding from the bottom of each one. Both poured pretty much identically, and in terms of the head, both have a nice beige looking head, and yeah, not much in them in terms of appearance. And I can't remember which one is which. I poured the Common Grounds into the St. Mars glass and then the Mocha Porter. Almost felt the first hurdle there, didn't I? So we'll go with Common Grounds because it's the more familiar beer. So let's give it a sniff. Oh, that's good. Never ceases to amaze me how nice this beer smells. You're getting exactly everything there. You're getting the chocolate, you're getting the vanilla, you're getting the coffee. Not one of those characteristics is really amplified or stealing the show. It's just so well rounded. Then you get that lovely caramelly, roasty sweetness from the malts as well. A little bit of a smoky edge, but a very mild-mannered smelling beer, which there's nothing wrong with that. So let's see what we get on the nose with the Mocha Star, is it? Northern Star. This has maybe a slightly more earthy aroma. It's not as sweet. It's got a bit more of a dark chocolate sort of nose to it. You're getting the sort of like the greenness of the coffee, almost as if it's like just the coffee beans, that you've got that really nice rustic sort of earthy character. Whereas that from the Common Grounds has a little bit more of a toned down one. The coffee is a little bit stronger in this, but this has got more of like a roasted, slightly sweet coffee. I mean, both smell really nice. Of course, you're getting very subtle vanilla in there as well, and that lactose is coming out. There may be a tiny little bit of a lactose funkiness coming through, which works nicely with the earthiness of the bean. But that being said, there's not much in it. This is just maybe a little bit more savoury smelling, and this has got a little bit more of a sweetness. But both smell really damn good. I think out of the two, I'm going to go with Common Grounds, just because it's that sweetness. But again, I could happily sniff both beers. I really could just literally spend 24 hours just smelling those aromas. That's a challenge I should do. No, I won't. That's just ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Coffee porters, though, they all smell good. So, both of them really nice. So, let's go for... Even though I went for the Common Grounds first, I'm going to go for the Northern Star first on the taste, just because I'm a little bit familiar with Common Grounds. Anyway, cheers. First of all, lovely mouthfeel. That lactose is working really well. That's a lovely velvetiness to it. Still lower body, as you would expect from a porter of this ABV. But it's got a real slickness to it, which I do like. Again, just like the nose, I'm getting a bit more of the savoury, earthy characters coming through. So you've got the beans, you've crushed them in your hand, and you like wiped your mouth or something, and you've got the taste. Do you know what I mean? One of those sorts of... What a really specific flavour note that is. There is, however, a slight cherry note to it. Now, I don't know if that's coming from the yeast or if it's part of the coffee, the blend that they've used. A little bit of a wooden char as well. Not getting so much of the vanilla, I would say. Still a really tasty little brew though. So let's give the Common Grounds a taste. Now, I've got a full review on this, so link will be in the description. Excuse me. Cheers. This overall has a much more mellower flavour profile, I would say. A little bit more of a grainy chocolate character, almost drinking chocolate. Coffee is definitely in there. It's got a nice, slightly sweetened edge. Definitely get more of the darker malts coming through on this. Not getting any of that berry profile that I got with the Northern Star. Now, I know sometimes Northern Monk can do stouts where you get that specific type of yeast that leaves this cherry flavour, which I'm not a fan of. Rob from Hopscene will know what I mean. So I'm thinking that might be that of the yeast strain they've used for Northern Star. But I think in context it works nicely with that beer. The vanilla character in this, almost like a vanilla butter biscuit kind of thing. Especially anyone from like areas like Germany and that sort of thing when they do their Christmas biscuits. Really simple, just very basic, but very tasty. Just so nice and drinkable. Both of them are. Both of these you could either really savour, take every ounce of that flavour and drink it in and get caught in the moment, or you could just knock these back just because of how drinkable they are. The one thing I will say that both are really quite robust. I'd say Northern Star's got a bit more of a dominant flavour profile as opposed to Common Grounds. Common Grounds is more muted, laid back, but still both very flavourful. Let's have another taste of this. I would say Northern Star has a much silkier and bolder mouthfeel to it. And that's very evident after taking a few sips of that and then going straight to that. Yeah, it's just got a bit more oomph to it in terms of its body. This is a tough one. It's a really tough one. But it's a good, tough situation to be in. Do you know what I mean? Now, before I go into which beer I prefer best, bottom line is both of these are fantastic coffee porters. And it's a testament to both breweries and also to the selection of the coffee that they've used. So obviously, please go check out both breweries, and of course go check out Darkwoods Coffee, and then also and also North Star Coffee Roasters. Props to both breweries for actually promoting the people who they've worked with. I know specifically Northern Monk are really big on collaborations. One of the main reasons why I love them, one of the main reasons why I absolutely adore the Patrons Project series. It's not just about, showcasing other breweries and friends within the brewing industry. It's also about working with clothing companies, with artists, photographers, designers, restaurants, chefs, athletes, skateboard companies, lifestyle organisations, charities, both actually very community oriented, I would say. In fact, Magic Rock have really built a good sort of a community spirit within Huddersfield, and you get that when you go there. One of the best tap rooms I've ever been to was Common Grounds, and probably the closest that I'm probably going to get to like a really pioneering old school American style tap room. They really nailed it. That's just me going off like photos of looking at like Russian Rivers tap room and Great Divide sort of time, like Sierra Nevada and that sort of thing. But yeah, very, very involved within the community, even though they've got such a big, cash injection behind them now. And it doesn't seem to have stifled them. Especially when it comes to their like core range beers, you don't really see too many like specials and that sort of stuff. Although they brought back the Cannonball Run, which is good to see that they're still doing that. So yeah, I can't fault either brewery. I can't fault either beer. I really can't. It's slowly becoming one of my all-time favourite styles is the coffee porter. And I don't usually like porters because I'd rather opt for a stout to get a bit more of a bolder, mouthfeel, and sometimes a bit more of a bolder flavour profile. But these beers show that you don't have to do a stout. You don't have to use the keyword stout. Do you know what I mean? We've become really quite obsessed with, like hazy IPAs and big, bold stouts. Sometimes it's just good to have, relatively inexpensive but high quality, brilliantly brewed beers that you can have in your fridge, your cellar, that you can just knock back open on, whenever. And you're not worried about not being able to get the beer again because you could just go to wherever you got it the first time and you probably go to pick up loads. Do you know what I mean? That's what I love about this. It feeds into that sort of discussion that's going on about like the supermarkets versus the bottle shops. Of course, bottle shops I'm always going to support bottle shops because I'm more directly supporting the brewing industry that way. But at the same time, I can't always, spend 70 quid on like 6 beers at my local bottle shop. Sometimes I'd like to spend that, 30 quid and get double that. And a lot of these like 4 for £6 offers, 3 for 5, get 5 beers for 6, as is the case with booze. It's just good to know that you can get really high quality beer at really great affordable prices. And some of my best drinking experiences that I've had have cost me 2-3 quid. And I don't think that should be shunned. But at the same time, I want to support local bottle shops because they'll get more exciting beers in. And I want to, directly support a brewery by going to their tap room or to their own bottle shop on site or going to an online retailer. Or a big thing now we're seeing is a lot of the breweries are doing their own, online outlets. And Northern Monk are now, distributing or delivering internationally through their web shop. It's such an exciting time to be into this hobby. And I wish I had these, this accessibility and affordability when I was doing this, 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. It's crazy how long I've been, and not realising it, I've been invested in just the pursuit of good quality beer. So that's it. That's the big point, a roundabout way of explaining it, but both these beers, both breweries, got a lot of time and love for. And both these beers are fantastic. So both of them are highly recommended. But there's got to be one winner. I can't overlook how satisfying that mouthfeel is on Northern Star. And as it's breathing in the glass, I'm getting a little bit more of that vanilla. I'm getting almost like a little bit of like a Lotus Amaretti biscuit coming through. But again, I'm getting that earthiness and a lot of that coming from the coffee. And then there's this very subtle cherry blackberry-like character, which I'm attributing to the yeast. But it works, and it's like you put a little bit of, a syrup into your coffee, that sort of thing. But then drink this, and I'd say there's not as much going on in Common Grounds as there is in Northern Star. But I think Common Grounds, all those aspects are working much better in harmony than they are in the Northern Star. So it is a little bit more of a laid back experience. But I think that's why I love Common Grounds. And then if you have it on cask, oh my god. I hope Port Street is still doing that on cask, because I might go there this weekend, because I need to do a bit more Christmas shopping, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there's not much in it. There's really not much in it. But I think the winner for me, it's going to sound such a cop out, and like it's already been predetermined before I turned on the camera, but it's not. This has been a real eye opener, and a beer that I will happily buy again. I'm not the biggest fan of Northern Monk's core range. I think stuff like Eternal and Faith are just really wishy-washy IPAs and pales. And I think this is one of their core ranges, or it's technically classed as one, because they do different variations throughout the year. But this is damn good. This could be, aside from Heathen, my favourite quote-unquote core range beer from Northern Monk. But this, to me, is just, from Magic Rock, there's just something about it. It's a bit more sort of like reined in and refined, if that makes sense. Both of them absolutely stellar. They really are. But for me, the winner out of the two is Common Grounds. That being said, if Common Grounds had the mouthfeel that Northern Star did, it would be a completely different animal. It really would. And I think that's really achievable, because I've had like Kentucky Grounds, and I've had some different versions of Common Grounds and different ways of it being, you know, poured. If it just had maybe a little bit more of a bolder body, then it'll just take it to another level. But yeah, very close call. A very close call indeed. But for me, my personal favourite out of the two has to be Common Grounds. So, both of them highly recommended. I cannot stress that enough. Both of them are definitely worth your time. If you like your coffee porters, chances are you're a big fan of these beers anyway, if you're in the UK. But yeah, both of them highly recommended. So I said I might do a cuvee, and I'm going to do a cuvee. So let's see if the boldness and earthiness from Northern Star can maybe add something to that sweetness and more roundedness. Is roundedness a word? I don't know, of the Common Grounds. Let's see. Let's pause the video for a second. So there we go. We've got my Dark City glass. Didn't go to the festival, but I've got a glass. I'm that sort of person. I'll happily buy festival glasses, mainly for the motif on the front. So let's pour a little bit of the Northern Star in. I don't want to pour too much, because I've not got a thumbnail for this video yet. Mind you, I suppose I could just show the cans, can't I? So we've got... How much have we poured in there? I've not measured it.